Hello and welcome in, everybody. I'm Andromeda Astria, and today we're going to be talking about companies, agencies, groups, and collabs. You're probably here because you've heard these terms thrown around the VTuber sphere, and you want to know exactly what the difference is between all these things. So if that is the case for you, go ahead and stay tuned, and we'll go through what each of these different things are and why each of them may or may not be right for you. All right, so the first one we have is the company. Now, this is going to be our Hololive, Niji Sanji, VShojo, Phase Connect, all of the really big ones. Those are usually going to be companies. Now, companies are big organizations where you are an employee of theirs. This is a very, very specific distinction between companies and everything else. You work for them. This means that you're going to get a lot of benefits, but it also means there's going to be a lot of stuff you can't necessarily do because you do represent this company. So one of the things that may not be the best with this is that they will take significant cuts of your profits. This can be 30 to 50%. It's quite a high amount. It is worth it for what they're giving you, but this is something to be very understanding of when you're looking at which one of these is going to fit you the best. Now, despite that, they will provide you a lot of stuff. So they're going to be providing the assets. They're going to provide you your model. They're going to provide you anything you need to run your model. Some of them provide the hardware as well. So if you don't have a good enough computer or mic or anything, they will provide those for you. They'll provide all the emotes, all of those things that you need, backgrounds, anything along those lines, all the promotion stuff. They'll have your socials set up for you. Everything will be done for you. So while they are taking a much higher cut of your profits, they are doing a lot for you. Another thing they'll provide you with is sponsorships. You're not going to have to go and find them yourself. They will find them for you. You may or may not have a decision on whether you take those sponsorships. That's something that you're going to have to look into when you're dealing with your NDAs and all of the paperwork, whether you have an option to say no to a sponsorship. But the company will be bringing you sponsorships. You're not going to have to go out and look for them. Another thing they will bring you is a team. So you'll have managers, you'll have people who are dealing with your social media, you'll have people dealing with everything for you. So you're not going to have to go out and do a lot of the stuff that you would have to do in some of the other situations you could be in. Another piece is you're going to have genmates. Now, not all of these different types of groups are going to have that piece. With companies, you do have genmates. So this gives you a built-in social circle, a built-in group of people to collab with. It gives you a built-in theme. It gives you a lot of stuff. And for some people, this is really, really important. So if you really want genmates, this is going to be one of the best ways to get them is to join a company. Now, with all the pros and all the cons, the by far most important piece of joining a company is it is the absolute best visibility you can get. It has amazing clout. If you join a company, think about how quickly people who join Hololive get to insane numbers of followers. If you join a big company, you are going to be seen. There's a built-in fan base. There are people who, because they like the other members of that company, will come and watch you. You have so much stuff that is just going to be handed to you from the second that you debut. Next, we have agencies. Now, you may have noticed that some of the organizations of VTubers do actually have the word agency in their title, but almost none of them are actual agencies. And this is because talent agencies in the entertainment industry, which as a VTuber, you are in the entertainment industry, talent agencies have some really strict regulations and rules. And almost none of those corporations fall under those regulations and rules. You'll see why in a second. First off, an agency works for you. You are their client, and they are providing you a service. Now, the next piece is an agency will never ask you for money right off the bat. If they're charging you for something to join, they are not a real or upstanding agency. They will only ever take 10% of what you make. They only make money if you make money. So their whole job is essentially to find ways to make you money so they can make more money. This can happen in a few ways. They can be the ones finding you sponsorships. They can be the ones negotiating the deals to get you paid more money so that they can get more money. One of the most important things with agencies is that it opens a door for you that you wouldn't have access to otherwise. because agencies have connections, and that's really what they do. They're kind of this spider web out into the entertainment industry that has all these connections and knows all these people, and they know who to connect with who to get the best deals. Next, we have groups. Now, groups differ from companies and agencies in that they are usually VTuber run. They are sometimes co-ops, which means all the members of the group work together equally. Sometimes there's one person in charge who recruits everybody. It really depends on the group. They can be very formal and have auditions. They can be very informal and just be a group of friends who are working together. This is definitely less formal than either of the other two options we've looked at, but it is mostly there for people to collab with each other, to support each other. It gives you some visibility. It probably gives you gen mates. Most of the groups I've seen do tend to have groups of people that are debuting together, so you do get a little bit of that gen mate thing that you could get from a corporation. You'll usually get a decent amount of support from the other members, and you can get advice from them. It's definitely a slightly less formal version of the corporation. So if you're looking for some of the good of the corporation without some of the stuff that seems a little bit not like you, then a group is usually going to be a better bet. And it's kind of a way to testing out if you like being in that slightly controlled atmosphere, because a group will usually have rules that you have to follow in order to stay in the group and general vibes that they want you to have. So if you're thinking of going Corpo, I would suggest you try going into a group first and seeing if you like the level of control that you have versus that they have. And if you do like it, then you can move on to trying to get into corporation. But if you're feeling stifled from being in a group, then don't move on to a corporation. Maybe try out an agency or just go full on indie. The last thing we have is collabs. That is short for collaborations if you don't know, and all it really means is more than one VTuber doing something together. It could be streaming together, it could be making a video together, it's just more than one VTuber doing whatever content creation they do together. It's a really great way to test out your dynamic and see if you guys work together and if you might want to do more stuff or create a group together or something along those lines. It is definitely the least commitment of all of these. And you can usually go and find them fairly easily. You can just go find a VTuber and ask them if they'd like to collab on something. And a lot of the time they're going to say yes because people like collabing. So this one is a great way to move from being a solo VTuber into being part of some kind of group a little bit and see if you like it. So we come to the end. Which one is right for you? So there's a few things you're going to want to figure out for yourself before you go into looking for any of these. One of the most important is going to be, what level of freedom do you want? Do you want to have control over all the content that you make? Do you want to have control over the games you can play, over the songs you can sing, over the videos you can produce? If you want full control over all of that, do not go join a corporation. No matter how great they are, you will never have full control over that. They will always be the ones who are in charge in the end of what you can and cannot produce. Now, if you don't care about how much freedom you have with that, and you just want to make some fun stuff and you're okay doing what someone else tells you to do, then a corporation will be a perfectly reasonable way for you to go. Second would be how much support you want. Now, if you're pretty confident in this whole VTuber thing and you don't feel like you need that much support and maybe a little advice every once in a while, or just, a group of people to talk to, then you're going to be fine just going with something like a group or the occasional collabs. Or you could go to an agency, but you're not necessarily going to need to go to a corporation. Now, if you want a ton of support and you don't have any idea what you're doing and you really need a lot of help with that, or you're just tired of doing it yourself and you want someone else to do it for you for a change, then a corporation is going to be your best bet. That's really where they have the edge on everybody, is that they do have the best inbuilt support. The next one is going to be gen mates. Now, with many of these, you will have gen mates. So if you're doing Corpo or if you are doing a group, you're going to have gen mates. If you're doing a agency or just collabs, then you will not have gen mates. So that is really a personal preference, whether you really want to have that or you don't care. That's where that divide is. Now, one of the pieces that you maybe don't want to hear is your current success level will have a decent impact on which of these you can get into. If you are just starting out, there is no chance you're getting into an agency. Agencies are there for people who have a track record that the agency can see, people who have hit the point where they need that extra bit of support and need that extra bit of help. They do not take beginners, they take people who have a record of success. Corporations are pretty close to that too. It is very, very unlikely you're going to get into a corporation if you have no experience. It's very unlikely you're going to get into a corporation if you have not monetized your channels. They are looking for safe bets at this point in time. The VTuber market is very oversaturated. Most of them are not taking a gamble on a new talent. They want someone who has proven that they can make money and will be able to continue making money inside the corporation. The last one is going to be long-term goals. Now, depending on what you want to do as a VTuber, each of these different things is going to be more right for you. And only you know what your long-term goals are. But if your long-term goals are something that only a corporation can give you, then all of the negatives of a corporation go completely out the side door and you go for a corporation because you know you need them to meet your long-term goals. If an agency is going to provide you with what you need for long-term goals, if sponsorships are the most important thing to you, if figuring out interesting ways to make more money are the most important things to you, then an agency is going to be your best bet because you are their one client. They are making everything work for you. So for making the most money, your agency is probably going to be your best bet in the long run. Maybe not right off the bat, but long term, that's their goal, that's your goal. Great way to go. If you just want a group of friends and your long-term goal is just have a group of people you can do stuff with for a really long time, then go for groups. Groups are going to be your best bet. You can stick with them or you can move on to a different group, but it's much more chill. And as a long-term place for making friends is going to fit a little bit better. And with collabs, if you don't have any long-term goals and you're just kind of checking things out and trying to figure out what you want to do and what you don't want to do, start out with the collabs because they're a really chill place to start and there's no big commitments there and you can see what you do and don't like. All right, guys, that's all I have for you today. If you have any questions, go ahead and pop them to the comments or head on over to my Discord and you can ask me there. Good luck with all this and I hope it all goes super well for you. I will see you guys next time.